Jam on toast!
Hey there, welcome to the Jam. I'm Cameron. Today the toast is to Cinema Paradiso. I could continue with the insulting Italian accent, but I'm not gonna. But I will tell you this video is in response to Roosterteeth's horribly named podcast, Screenplay. Do your own review and add the hashtags screenplay or hashtag RT screenplay. We'll see what comes of what as this continues. The short sell on this one is that an Italian boy pesters his way into a movie, film, studio, theater thing and onto the industry to become a big shot. My love for this one is the line, "By God, they're kissing!" And I understand it's not the Italian, but when the censorship finally fails because the theater is no longer ran by the church, where the priest or whatever he is in that scenario can censor things, it comes down to the business guy, Mr. Sissio probably, and he allows it through. So the very first time they get to see kissing on screen, which the priest's response is something about watching pornography, and I'm just like, really? My hate for this one is that the only character that goes back for Alfredo when the theater kind of spontaneously burns down is Toto. It's a little kid who half his size can't do anything, which proves almost that anyone else could have gone and saved Alfredo, and then we would have got him out and he wouldn't have been damaged like he was. My MVP was Alfredo, played by Felipe Nore. I think there's a T at the end. I had to look him up to make sure I knew his name correctly. And then on IMDb, I actually had to go to the second page just to see him. I can't believe that he got shorted like that. Felipe, you did a good job, brother. And the character Alfredo was key to the story. He was where the inspiration built, and he's where the motivation was to get to and be, and then he surpassed him, and even through all his damages and whatnot, he always cared for Toto, and maybe it's because he was in that picture we saw, saved it. I really like that character. I would love to see versions of that character in stories to come. But let's get on to the categories.
Aesthetics.
I have this problem. I don't mind so much when movies are just old, but I have this huge problem when current movies try to be old. It ends up looking weird and just super artificial, and unless they do it just right, hey, it's not that great. And then on the other hand, when they do get it right, it's usually a time period I'm not a big fan of. I'm like, that looks exactly like it was. And then you're like, well, that was shit. We get a lot of that. Not only is this film Italian, but we get a lot of old-timey stuff where they're wearing funny britches, and even when we get into movies and technology, it's dirty black and white photos. They're showing Chaplin up there, so we're looking at silent films. We're looking at all kinds of stuff, all the way to the point where the theater burns down, they rebuild it. Then you actually have neon lights, and they're trying to show movies that involve kissing now. All of this shows the story in itself through progression of time as we try to modernize and we show things. And because the movie is centered on the movie industry in Italy as well as Toto, the movies come into the story and play a very visual aspect. But not a lot of that is super enjoyable. A lot of this is just awkward because, hey, it's Italy. I'm not used to seeing stuff that looks like Italy all the time, especially when it's an Italian movie. And there's subtitles, which helps ruin the movie because I have to read. I can't do what I would normally do. And not only can I not multitask, but instead of watching the movie, now I'm reading the thing. So I'm still not watching the movie, but I'm putting extra work in. Aesthetics gets a 75.
Character development.
There's kind of a nice duality to the story, and I'll get to that in a minute. But you see the movie industry grow, and you see Toto grow, and you see Alfredo grow, and you see Alina grow, and you see his mom kind of grow, and this horrible character development with him being gone for 30 years, and oh my gosh, there's a lot going on there. So the character development was really good. I was actually super proud of them for building it the way they did. And having the movie industry as an essential character is a tough way to write, so kudos. Character development gets an 88.
Storyline.
Here's the story. Kid pesters his way into the theater, works the theater for a while, even after it burns down, goes to the army, comes back, leaves to go become a big shot movie guy in another town, and the movie industry moves on. There's no real great thing there. there's some interesting character development between the characters and how he deals with his mom and Alfredo, but hey, the overall story is not what makes this movie, it's the individual stories. Storyline gets a 30.
Compulsion.
I had a lot of fun watching this movie, I'll be honest. If it wasn't subtitled, it would have made all the difference, honestly. Because it's a touching story. I like certain parts of it more than others, and it's interesting to see the movie industry. It's interesting to see history of movies. It's interesting to see other countries' sort of things, but mixing it all together, it's kind of draining. It takes away from the main story, which was touching but uneventful. But Compulsion gets a 40. Now, if you total all that up, you get an average of 58.25. I'll be honest, not exactly my cup of tea. I can see why people do like the movie. It is very touching at points, but ultimately, not something I'm ever going to watch again. I don't get it, and maybe it's because I can't relate to it being Italian, maybe it's because I can't relate to the characters certain ways, but hey, it's just what it is. It's not for me. If you like Italian movies, you like foreign movies, you don't mind reading subtitles, by all means, go ahead and watch this, but I can't recommend it. I'm going to have to say you give this a miss. Anyways, that's it for me. I'm Cameron. If you don't like me, bite me.
If you want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations, and they'll take you to our other channels.